What do you consider influence? Is it what we learn from our parents when we grow up? Is it what our friends peer pressure us into doing? Is it political? Or is it the amount of followers you have? No. That can't be it. Whether you like it or not, you're influenced by everything around you. But it's not what influences you, it's what you do with it. In this series, I ask people from all walks of life what influence means to them.
Want to influence the influence.
Whether or not you want to influence the world, but how?
Yeah.
How do you want to be remembered?
What's going on, guys? Welcome to The Influence. I have a pretty special, very cool guest going on here today. Jheanelle Henry. How you doing, Jheanelle?
I'm good.
Yeah.
Can't complain.
Yeah, not too bad.
Yeah.
So for the people that don't know, tell us a little bit about yourself, a little bit about what you do in the music sphere of the world.
Well, I do a few things. I manage artists. I curate events. Deal with brand management, endorsements, sponsorships, and some marketing.
Cool. Very, very cool. Very cool. The last time we kind of spoke, I was showing off my music. But anyways, the last time we spoke, you were something that you said really touched on my head, I guess, if that's the expression. But I think about it all the time when I make music now. And you said that the branding and the image of an artist is more important than the music itself. And a lot of times you see that nowadays in music. But how is it as a manager dealing with that with artists?
Well, I'll tailor that a little bit.
Okay.
Because I don't want anyone to think that you should just only be thinking about the brand. But when I say brand, it doesn't necessarily mean, okay, well, just the image.
Yeah.
It's also what type of music do you want to put out there? And to me, the most important thing is it's music that you believe in.
Yeah.
If you have to perform this music every single night on stage, it has to be something you believe in.
Yeah.
If you're going to talk about the music that you're putting out, you have to feel comfortable and passionate enough to speak about it.
Okay.
So for me, the important thing when it comes to brand isn't just, okay, well, is there an aesthetic or a look or what have you, because every artist is different, right? So the important thing to me is, do you actually connect with what you're putting out there?
Okay.
Do you connect with this music? Is this music the music that you can say that you have no regrets creating or putting out there?
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of times artists try to be what they think is popular to just gain momentum because they want to be in the music industry.
Yeah.
But at the same time, being yourself and being authentic will always come through.
It's the biggest thing.
Yeah, it will always come through. And
Okay.
you can tell when someone's faking it.
Do you like in your marketing company, right? Right now I have it as Rebel Whaler, but I mean, you mentioned earlier that's kind of like the parent company for it.
Yeah.
Is that something that you kind of stress on, and where does the inspiration come for the name anyways?
Well, yeah, so Rebel Whaler Inc. is the parent company, but
Okay.
the name, it kind of just, I kind of needed a name right away.
Okay.
Because I was like, okay, well, I'm going to start working with this artist. I need to make sure I have a company together, blah, blah, blah. And then I was thinking about all these names. Then I started thinking about songs, because sometimes I try to figure out names by thinking about songs.
Good inspiration.
And then I was like, I'm Jamaican, Bob Marley.
Nice.
So Rebel Whaler comes directly from Bob Marley.
Yeah.
Bob Marley and the Wailers.
Yeah.
Rebel is a word that's used in so many of his songs.
Yeah, for sure.
And I'm pretty sure he has songs with the title with Rebel in it. So that just, I was like, all right,
Okay.
there
cool.
we go.
There you go. That's where the connection clicked.
Yeah.
What does the marketing company kind of aspire to do? What is your goal when it comes to artists and dealing with them?
Well, my goal is to really, first and foremost, take that stress away.
Okay.
Because, especially if you're an independent artist, to deal with the marketing side, so not just thinking about your image and all that stuff, but also, okay, well, I have a project coming out, and I need to promote it, and I don't know what I'm doing, I don't have a marketing background, and, I may not have the biggest budget to get the type of help that a major label would or a major artist would.
For sure.
So that stress alone and trying to think about the best way to market yourself um, takes away from you being able to be creative.
Okay.
So my whole purpose behind it is to make sure that, okay, well, you take care of all the creative stuff, and when it comes to the marketing side of things and understanding that,
That's where
you don't have to deal with that anymore.
Cool.
So that's where that.
Is that something that's changed over time though? Because not a long time ago, but let's say 10 years ago, the music industry was completely different. You know, streaming's come in now. You have streaming counted as through plays, and it's actually charting now, right? How has that changed for you and the way that you approach music?
Well, I think it's pretty much the same for everyone, because I think the thing about streaming and hip hop and R&B kind of being like the top genres in the world now,
Yeah.
is that these genres are cheaper to produce, right? Because people can have studios in their house,
Yeah,
and
they
they can
can-
make the music.
Yeah.
Whereas other genres, I listen to all genres, so I'm not like, hating on other genres. But in terms of like rock music, for instance, there's a lot of live instrumentation in the studio, and
Yeah.
it takes time to get all these takes with all these different parts, putting it together.
Yeah.
So in terms of the cost, the biggest advantage is it's cheaper to put your music out there
Yeah.
than it was. Right, because and on top of that, there's all these different distribution services you can use to put your music out there. So it's not like you can't just record something and put it out. But the other thing too is there some sort of marketing behind it? Is there a plan behind it? And I understand, sometimes it takes time to learn that as you go. So I'm not, saying, okay, always have a plan when you're putting stuff out,
Yeah.
because you have to learn as well.
Yeah.
But I think it's definitely different in the fact that it's cheaper. It's different in the fact that everyone can access music from everywhere in the world. If you're a Canadian artist, your music is playing
Oh yeah. Now
wherever,
with SoundCloud,
right?
right?
Yeah. But the other thing too is to realize that there's also a lot of saturation that comes with that.
True.
Because now everybody is their own label. So
Everyone's their own marketing company.
yeah, everyone's their own. Yeah, so everyone's their. So you have to keep that in mind and kind of figure out how to be authentically yourself.
Yeah.
And not regret making a decision just to try to get popularity
Yeah.
that hinders your creativity.
Well, that actually brings me to a good question. So a lot of artists now, especially in Toronto, with Toronto kind of establishing its sound,
Yeah.
they kind of pick what they see as popular, especially in Toronto, and they just kind of go with it and gravitate towards it.
Yeah.
What is your opinion on that and trying to keep your sound original, true, and to yourself, like a representation of yourself? Yeah.
Yeah. So I would say, like, if someone's creating music that's completely left field from what they actually want to do because they're trying to be popular,
Yeah.
then when you actually decide to put the music out that you actually really want because the trend is over, how are you going to make sure that any fans that you've built up to that point are going to stay with you when
Yeah,
you
because they'll leave as soon as you stop making that type of music.
Yeah, so like there's some artists that can be very versatile with genres, but at the same time, it's not necessarily genres. It's maybe the way you sing or the messages that you're putting out there that are more true to yourself than the trendy stuff.
Yeah.
So I think I understand it because there's a lot of eyes on Toronto in general, but at the same time, you have to figure out a way to be true to yourself. So as long as you're being true to yourself, and okay, well, you're gravitating towards the sound, but you're making it your own, and it's not far off from what you would be doing,
Yeah.
then that's a lot more acceptable than
Stick with it. Keep going.
yeah.
with
Because
it,
if you're like at the end of the day, you want to be like full on like rock, but you're doing this to get traction, and then once the trend's over, you're gonna go to something else. I mean, no one's gonna stick with you because you're already showing that you're not authentically being yourself.
Yeah, I mean, kind of Post Malone did that, but opposite, right? Like he tried rock and then it didn't work, and now he's doing hip hop.
Yeah, but the thing with him is it seems authentic,
Yeah,
right? Because
it does. That's true.
like
Yeah,
look at how he kind of carries himself.
yeah,
Like he dresses like a full blown country guy,
it's true. Yeah,
right? Full blown country rock singer.
yeah,
And he kind of has that kind of swag to him that it would work if he decided to go full on rock.
yeah.
But it still works for hip
Hip-hop,
hop
too.
because it just seems like that's
Yeah.
what he likes. So he
True.
just does what he likes and it works. It's different than doing something that you don't
Other
like,
people like, and then
right?
yeah.
So like I said, as long as you're being authentically yourself, you can figure out a way to make it work.
Okay. Let's move from marketing to curating. You also curate a bunch of events, mainly music type events, but you did it for Canadian Music Week this year, right?
Yeah.
And then you did it for Indie Music Week last year.
Yeah.
I think just recently you were in Manitoba as well, talking about music and doing it there.
Yeah.
First, I want to see how different is the scene in Manitoba compared to here.
Well, the main difference is there's really not
like it'd
that
be-
much support out there,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like in terms of venues, there's not that many venues. In terms of I was out there because of Manitoba Music. They invited me out there.
Cool.
So they are
Shout out to
showing
them.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, shout out to them. They are showing that they're trying to create a bridge for genres like R&B and hip hop
Yeah.
to have a chance in those areas.
Is there a scene for it? Like, is there enough of an audience?
Well, I think of it like I don't necessarily think of it as okay. Well, it's localized because we're in the digital age, so you can
Yeah.
pretty much
Do it from
make it
anywhere.
from anywhere.
Yeah.
So I definitely see that a lot of them are collaborating with each other, which is really important to build a community. But also there's a lot of talented people out there, and either way they're gonna find their way
Yeah.
to get seen and heard.
Okay.
It's just that I think the support is starting to happen now because it's a smaller market,
Mhm.
and it wasn't necessarily a genre that was focused on before. So I'm glad to see that it's changing.
So, all three of those events, they have a lot to do with independent artists and to help them to figure out a way, give them advice in any way they can.
Yeah.
How important do you think that is in what you want to do, as a professional career?
In terms
Very
of,
important.
sorry, I just blacked out a little.
Yeah, no, it's all good. It's all good.
Don't put that.
Hey, it happens. It happens. It's all good. Okay. No, but the question really is, with all the events that you have curated, right?
Mhm.
Would you say that is how you want to kind of leave your mark or leave your influence in music, by helping independent artists,
Well, I don't really think of it as like leaving a mark.
Okay.
Like the Indie Week opportunity that I had last year to be like their urban programmer. It was just something new that wasn't really done before, and I thought, okay, well, it's an opportunity to give people an opportunity, a shot.
Yeah.
So, and I'm glad that they've expanded that even more this year and actually had Dalton Higgins and a bunch of other people put on events throughout,
Yeah.
more than just, okay, well, here's some shows. So, and the urban panel I curated there last year too. So I'm glad that it's expanded.
Yeah.
But in terms of my mark, I feel a little weird saying that, to be
Well,
honest
okay,
with you.
fine. Maybe like the way you want to kind of influence.
Well, my reasoning behind so the curating for Canadian Music Week, what I saw in terms of an opportunity there was there's a lot of people that are from here that haven't necessarily gotten a shot to be a part of a Canadian Music Week event that were long overdue. Some were part of it, some and a lot of people weren't necessarily part of it, and it was the first time that Canadian Music Week had a dedicated hour for hip hop and R&B. So
That's pretty cool.
yeah, it was definitely cool. So my main focus there was to have people that weren't necessarily big names. There was a really big name there, definitely.
Who?
T- was there.
Oh, okay, dope.
So
dope.
yeah, so he was there. But aside from that, I had some producers that are doing really well,
Yeah.
around the world and are about to blow up.
Gotcha.
And my whole thing is they can bring a different perspective than someone who's already blown up.
Okay.
So, people getting advice from people who were not too long ago one of those people.
Got you.
So, yeah.
I got you. That is actually really cool. I think that events like that help artists, especially as an independent artist myself, it helps us be able to get the information that we wouldn't be able to find anywhere else. Like getting it from the source in a way, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
How do you want to influence? I know this is kind of like a redundant question, but how do you want to influence music? It's so basic. It's so broad. But like, I have to ask it because it's your passion, right? Tough, right?
Yeah. I honestly just want to do what I love to do, and if people recognize it, then they do, and if they don't, they don't. But
Yeah.
at least I know that I'm doing what I love to do.
Okay.
Yeah, but like I guess my main thing is to work with artists and help put their visions to life.
Okay.
So really supporting them. So whether it's okay, well, you know, I don't even know how to answer this question, to be honest with you.
It's so broad that I
yeah.
kind of just threw it to you. But
Yeah, like I will say, like, it would be cool one day to be on one of these lists, but
okay.
at the same time, it's not the end of the world if I'm not.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just want to, like, in terms of my
Like-
mark, I would just want people to say that the work speaks for itself.
Okay, how about I ask you this? Would you rather kind of build your way up and manage local artists and independent artists and move your way to having a big artist? Or would you rather have an independent artist and mold them into this bigger artist and create an image through what they believe, you know?
Well, I will say I do like the journey of being part of someone's career from the beginning.
Yeah.
I'm not opposed to working with an artist that's more established.
Of course.
At
yeah.
the end of the day, but that still wouldn't take away from me wanting to work with artists from the beginning.
Okay.
Because I think everyone's kind of had their horror stories of things going on, and they feel like some people feel like they can't trust managers
Yeah.
or anything like that,
Oh,
and
yeah,
then
yeah,
managers
yeah.
feel like they can't trust artists, and like it's a whole thing.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like my whole message is, okay, people have gone through stuff,
Mm-hmm.
but at the end of the day, you have to let that stuff go because everything's a lesson.
Yeah.
Everything's a lesson to get you to where you are right now. So
Preach.
so that's
yeah.
that's kind of how
Yeah.
I see things, because
Yeah.
it's part of the journey. Everyone has a journey, and you're going after something that would be considered impossible to the
Yeah.
majority of the world.
You kind of touched on it there with relationships and building them and the whole idea that manager and artist, it's a working relationship two-way, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people I know, a lot of artists that I know as well, they kind of like to keep themselves in a box and not work with a lot of people. How important do you think it is to collaborate with people in the city, work with a bunch of people, and from there build your career?
I would say this: the biggest example you could follow are the producers from here that have blown up around the world.
Okay.
The thing that they have done that
So the T minus is the Wonder Girl.
All of, like, when you just look at the credits for songs,
Oh yeah.
how many times do you see their name alone?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So to me, that should be the biggest
Indicator. kind of thing?
indicator of how you should move, because building those relationships in the creative process, whether you're going to use the music for yourself or not, just being in the room, meeting, interacting with these people, maybe even like taking away from someone, because
Yeah.
there's different perspectives that you get, or things you might learn that you didn't learn before,
Yeah.
that you can apply to your own music.
Mhm.
But also, like, there's just a lot of opportunities that come from collaborating
Okay.
in general. So I would say don't necessarily stay in a box, because if you're staying in that box, you're relying on making sure that everyone in that box are going to eventually blow up.
Yeah.
But then on top of that, you're also limiting your creativity at the same time.
True.
Like, it's understandable to be an artist and have the producers that you really trust and work with.
Yeah.
I definitely am a big fan of that.
Like
because-
creating a sound with a certain team. Yeah.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, that relationship is a relationship that sometimes is hard to find. So I understand that, but in addition to that, there's a lot of collaboration that can be had
Yeah.
without you necessarily taking away from working with your core group of people, because you can always bring them in, and bringing them in means that they're also getting more collaboration opportunities
Fair
as
enough.
well.
Yeah.
So, it's just all about moving, even if you're like have a crew of people,
Mm-hmm.
if you're stepping out to collaborate with people, it's giving them an opportunity to collaborate with people as well.
That's actually a great point. Everybody all artists listen to this, go collaborate, go work with people, because I can't stress this enough. You said it, I'm gonna say it too. Why not? Okay, kind of moving towards influence and talking about this, why this we do this whole series in general.
Okay.
Who are some people that influence you? Mentioned it earlier, Bob Marley. Right?
Yeah. Well. Yeah.
Who
well,
doesn't?
Yeah. But like in terms of like music industry people, like I know I'm nowhere near where these people are.
No,
but
it's
they
good to
inspire me. So,
inspire. Yeah.
So like Lola,
Okay.
is definitely one.
For the people who don't know, I guess say who she.
So she, if you've heard of I Love Lola
Yeah.
.com, it's a blog, but she's also branched out into managing people, doing brand management. There's just a lot that she does, and now she's doing a lot of events to help support women in the industry as well.
For sure. Yeah.
But she's someone that I admire the moves that she's made, and I admire the integrity she's maintained. Other people would be Sylvia Rohn, who
Cool.
at one time was the head of Elektra Records. So, Busta Rhymes, Missy, with those big budgets. And
Yeah.
like, what labels supporting all this? But
Crazy
that's-
music videos.
Yeah, that's Sylvia
yeah.
Rohn. So,
Okay.
and now she's one of the heads over at Epic. So I've looked up to her for a while.
Cool.
The whole Rockefeller Rock Nation
Yeah.
team.
So like Stephen Victor, type those guys.
Well, yeah. So Jay-Z, Jay
Of
Brown,
course. Yeah.
Shaka,
Yeah.
over there as well. So there's a bunch of people that the first person that I actually looked up to was Clive Davis, because
Nice.
he was attached to Whitney Houston.
Yeah.
And Whitney Houston was like the first artist I was like, oh my gosh, she's amazing. So that's kind of where it all started, and then went from L.A. Reid and Babyface with L.A. Records. Well, LaFace, I mean.
Yeah.
LaFace to, it just goes on. Russell Simmons and Def Jam, and like it really goes on. And then there's a lot of people like Ibrahim, who's J. Cole's manager, and part of the Dreamville
Yeah.
situation, and really shepherding that. I admire their relationship and the trust that they have and what they've been able to build.
Yeah.
LVRN as well, like what they've been able to do is really amazing. Quality Control and what they've been able to do is really
They've been
amazing. So there's a
Shepherding
lot.
in the whole Atlanta scene, really.
Yeah, so there's a lot of examples. I mean, Master P,
Yeah.
like what
No
he
Limit,
was able to
right?
do,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that's crazy. And then when you think of Young Money and what's happened there, and,
Yeah.
like so there's a lot.
The
and
list goes on and on.
Yeah, the list goes on, and I'm like starting to see a lot more like female executives and at the major labels starting to get recognized, and
Okay.
starting to hire more people like that. So yeah, there's a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. There's clearly a lot.
And Tammy from FYI Brand Group as well,
Shout out to
and what she's been able to do on the brand management side for like DJ Khaled and all these people. So
Okay. I have a quote. All right.
okay,
You ready for this?
I hope so.
It's about influence. Here, let me see it. Influence is like a savings account. The less you use it, the more you've got. What do you think? Yes. First of all, true or false? Do you think it's true or?
I kind of feel like the truest sense of influence is not having to use it.
Okay. Like not enforcing it on.
Yeah, not enforcing it. Like, are you referring to more like an artist
Yeah, like
relationship with whoever's on their team, or like
yeah.
how are you?
No, exactly. So let's say as a manager yourself, right?
Mhm.
And if you're dealing with an artist, the less you kind of use that influence you have on the artist, the more you've kind of attained it, I guess, in a way. If that makes any sense.
Okay. Yeah, for me, I don't. For me, if I'm working with an artist, I don't really want to influence their creative process.
Okay.
I kind of feel like, okay, well, I'm working with you for a reason, so I'm not gonna rock the boat. So my whole thing is more about supporting the artist and their vision.
Yeah.
And then, the things that I can bring to the table are things outside of that. Or I can give an opinion here or there, but I'm not trying to hinder or stifle an artist from the creativity that they already have.
Okay.
So it's more about, I guess, kind of working together to make it stronger. and they're fully in control of their creative side, and have a vision, and I deal with the other side. It really all depends on the artist too.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but yeah.
Okay. All right. Is there any artist that you want to plug? Kind of just anybody you're working with currently, or I don't know.
I don't necessarily like naming
Doing plugging.
people.
All right, fair enough. Fair enough. Okay.
But yeah,
Just shout out to everybody she's working with, right?
Yeah,
Fair
shout
enough.
out to people. But yeah, so yeah, other than that, I mean, I'm on IG.
There you go. Shout yourself out. Go for
My
it.
name is long spelling, so if you can't find it, it's totally understandable.
I'll probably just put it like right under here.
Yeah,
like
that would be good.
There you
'Cause,
go.
yeah,
Yeah.
my first name has like 9 letters in it, so it's all good.
Okay.
But yeah, so other than that, I mean, if anyone has questions or anything, hit me up. Find me on the socials. You'll probably list it all
It's right
somewhere.
here. Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, appreciate this. Thanks
Cool.
for hitting me up.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you very much to Jheanelle. This is another episode of The Influence. We're going to be coming back with more episodes and more people that can be influential to your career.